Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen!
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Over the Line Football Podcast Series. जैसा कि आप लोग देखते आ रहे हैं, we've been talking about different leagues. Last program was dedicated to Liverpool's championship win after 30 years. Since then, it has been a mixed result. City वाला बड़ा anticipated match था और लोग उसकी तरफ देख रहे थे, but it turned out to a very one-sided match. 4-0 वो लोग हार गए. But coming back to La Liga, जिस पे हमने पिछले काफी अर्से से बात नहीं की, but lot has been happening there. Real Madrid is still on top. लेकिन हुआ बीच में ये है कि बार्सिलोना ने अपने कुछ मैच ड्रॉ खेले हैं. अपना लेटेस्ट मैच विलारियल के खिलाफ वो इंप्रेसिव तरीके से जीते हैं और मैड्रिड पे भी काफी एज यूजुअल क्रिटिसिज्म चल रहा है VAR का, पेनल्टीज का, और सर्जियो रामोस इज ऑल ओवर द प्लेस वंस अगेन. So मेरा ख्याल है शाहरुख पे स्माइल कर रहे हैं, so we'll start with Shahrukh. Oh, before I go into that, we have a special guest here. We have Jawad with us. He's a Barcelona fan. So don't expect a mainstream media political fight here, but it's going to be a very interesting show. सबसे पहले मैं वेलकम करता हूँ जवाद को.
If I don't get cornered. Anyway, just joking.
hopefully. चले, something is on card there. First of all, Jawad, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And I assure you that it's not an ambush, but you never know. But कुछ भी हो सकता है. And Shahrukh
I'm ready.
as well. So Shahrukh से start करते हैं. Shahrukh, last two matches, penalties, क्या scene है?
Yeah, if you look at the replays, I mean, there were clear penalties, right? You can't really doubt that at all. और ये जो VAR के ऊपर controversy है, that always comes up whenever one team is winning, when the other team is losing, especially in the case of Barcelona and Madrid or even Liverpool. अगर आप देखें, if you look at some of the stats from the earlier part of the season as well, there were so many penalties, so many fouls which were not given in favor of Madrid. Against Mallorca in the first game, in the first half of the season, against Levante as well. So obviously now that we're winning, we're on top of the league. ये criticism आएगी. पहले मुझे याद है जब VAR नहीं था, and people used to say कि जी अब VAR introduce हो रहा है football में, Madrid will never win another Champions League title. They won't win another league title ever again because उसके सारे ये जो so-called fouls से पकड़े जाएंगे. Now we have VAR. Now it's the other way around. They're saying कि जी VAR favor कर रहे हैं Madrid को. So it's not like that at all. I think these were both clear-cut penalties, and I think it's been a very, very tough run in for Madrid, yaar. अगर आप देखें, we won 7 straight games in a row, but over the last couple of matches, the performance has not been there because players थकते जा रहे हैं. They've played 7 games in less than 3 weeks now, and it's taking a toll on the players as well. But full marks to them to still be able to go through this. So yeah, 7 straight wins, top of the league, can't complain, on the right track.
नहीं, but I agree. असल में जो एक चैलेंज आ रहा है वो यही है कि प्लेयर्स अब थक चुके हैं और हमारे पास जो है वो रिप्लेसमेंट है नहीं. सर्जियो रामोस जिस तरह उसकी रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं है, इसी तरह हमारे पास करीम बेंजेमा की रिप्लेसमेंट भी नहीं है, एंड ही हैज बीन हेवीली मार्क्ड इन लास्ट 2 मैचेस. सो उसकी वजह से बहुत ज्यादा मुश्किल हो रहा है. एंड बट देन अगेन वी आर टू द रेस्क्यू. जवाद की तरफ आते हैं. जवाद, आप कैसे देख रहे हैं रिसेंट 3-4 मैचेस बार्सिलोना के?
I think it's been largely not a good performance by Barcelona. We haven't had a good run of form. I think in the last match against Villarreal, we did show quite a good connection between all the players. So they did really well. They won 4-1. But I think the matches prior were really bad. So it's been a mixed bag. If I just pick the last 2 matches, you had a terrible match against Atletico Madrid. The team was being run over effectively at every counter-attack. And I think we're lucky to get away with a draw, even at home. Atletico played really well. Not something very similar to that we're used to seeing them play in the past years, where they used to be very tenacious. I think they were a bit more experimental, maybe a bit more flowy. And that's one of the reasons why we could have been caught out. But I think so. Atletico Madrid match was pretty bad. Celta match was pretty bad also. That was a draw. Before that, there was a Sevilla match, which is again a draw. Again, a terrible match. In the last, Sevilla could have won the match, if that pass ended up at the right place. So I think it's the defense is lacking. The overall organization that typically is required of these big teams and in these big matches at the very last end of the league. And then not just the defense, but I think it's also the organization in the midfield. The overall structure by Setien is just not working at all. And I think it's showing a lot now, especially after the teams have not played for the last 4 months. It's difficult for them to come back and sort of gel back and understand what they have to do on field, especially the coach is also new. So it's not looking well. I think in the last match against Villarreal, there was a massive change in tactics, a massive change in the overall, the formation of the team, essentially. Shuru mein kya ho raha tha, since Valverde started off this season, they had Griezmann starting on the left, you had Messi on the right and Suarez in the center. You have two players which are playing in the correct positions. You have Griezmann, who's played out of position. They're not connecting, and hence they're not scoring goals. I think this season has been one of the worst seasons for Barcelona since probably 10 years ago, where they're not going to score more than, say, 70 or 80 goals this season in La Liga. When you know for a fact that Real Madrid and Barcelona have been scoring more than 100 goals a season, right, for the last 10 years. And this season, Barca has also been conceding a lot of goals, especially away from home. So I think the attack is not going well because of the, Griezmann is not in the right position. Then you have defense, which is not organized at all. And then you have a coach which is new. But anyway, so they made changes in the Villarreal match, and they started Griezmann and Suarez in the center, in the front, and then Messi was at the top of the diamond. And flanking Messi were two very tenacious players in Roberto and Vidal, who could then sort of, because obviously if Messi is playing behind the strikers and at the top of the diamond, you cannot expect him to defend, right? So he's never going to come back. So you needed two very tenacious box-to-box players who could go back and defend and also go forward when you need numbers. So I think this played out well in this match. And that's why we saw Barcelona dominating Villarreal massively and scoring 4 goals and conceding only 1. So, yeah, I mean, that's how I see Barcelona. I don't know if they continue with this change in personnel and the starting lineup and also the formation. Will this continue to reap rewards? I don't know if it would in La Liga. I don't know, but Champions League it could work because there are less matches, and then a bit of aggression works. So I don't know how it could turn out. Because it's just the first match that he tried this formation and this way of playing. So we'll have to see in the future matches how it pans out.
I was actually reading किसी ने शायद वो मजाक में लिखा हुआ था, लेकिन उन्होंने लिखा हुआ था कि लगता है कोच मेसी ने टेक ओवर फाइनली कर लिया है, बिकॉज तो बाकी सारे एलिगेशन लगते रहते हैं कि बोर्ड भी वो चलाता है, कोच भी वो सिलेक्ट करता है, ट्रांसफर भी वही कंट्रोल करता है. तो उन्होंने किसी ने लिखा हुआ था कि लगता है कोच मेसी ने टेक ओवर कर लिया है.
No, it's an interesting situation. To be honest, it would appear to be the case because it's not as if he controls every decision. That's not possible. I mean, they're all professional players. They don't work like this. But I think the stature of that player for this club is huge. I mean, he's arguably the best player in history, right? And with that comes a lot of, expectations. I mean, board expects to keep this player. He's running out of contract. So he has a lot of leverage. And that leverage could come out in so many different ways. I mean, if he shows a sad face, everyone is going to pick up on it and make 101 stories. And that puts a lot more pressure on the coach, on your supporting players, and also on the board to do something and change the situation around. So I think even a sad face by Messi can be blown out of proportion and have a massive effect on a club like Barcelona, who's always under a microscope. So I think it's not a case of him dictating things, but it's rather him using his power in certain ways to sort of probably bring out some sort of a change which could benefit Barcelona in the long run, especially in the short term. Next year, given the fact that Messi is not getting younger, he's going to turn 34 next year, right? So we don't have many years left to take advantage of his talent, right? So I think if as a Barcelona fan, I think his sad face is essential right now. I think that's the only way we can probably coerce the board to do something and have a better policy in place in the summer to get things rolling.
शाहरुख, आप कुछ कह रहे थे?
हाँ, आई थिंक इसी पॉइंट के ऊपर अगर बिल्ड करें तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल arguably best player ever कि I think it's quite debatable when you play for the same club and you don't win any international trophies. That's a little difficult to sustain. But the point is, yes, Messi is obviously not happy. He's had his problems with the board and with the management throughout this year. शुरू में साल के शुरू में अगर आपको याद हो सीजन के शुरू में बार्टोमो से इसके फड्डे हुए हैं एरिक आबिडाल के साथ he had sort of a very public falling out, and that's not something that you associate with Messi very often, right? In the past he would always seem to be behind the scenes, not coming out publicly against the club or against the management at any point in his career. But now the frustration seems to be boiling over because things have not been working for Barcelona over the past year and a half. They're not following the same philosophy that they've been known for. The changes in management, the absolute chaos in the transfer market as well. I mean, if you see the most successful transfer market was back in 2014 when they bought players like Ter Stegen, Luis Suarez, and Ivan Rakitic. Uske baad se they've spent almost like €1 billion on 28 players. I was reading this somewhere, and none of them you can say have been an outright success. Neymar को बेचना पड़ा actually, right? And they went on and spent like €400 million on 3 players, none of whom seem to fit in the club. And Coutinho is out on loan at Bayern. Ousmane Dembele can't get in the game, right? He's hardly ever fit. Griezmann has his own issues. So I mean, it's total chaos, and the reason why Messi is we apparently threatened that he didn't threaten, but there are reports that he might not be in the club after the next year, or he might not renew his deal. I think that's not possible. He will end up renewing. Like Jawad said, it's just a matter of leverage. Right? He's trying to make his feelings clear. He's not happy with how things are proceeding, and he wants some changes to take place. And I think he doesn't want this current management, the current board, to have the pleasure of renewing with them, right? So that he basically wants a new team to come in after the next elections, which I think are taking place end of next year. So these problems might just proceed for another year or so for Barcelona unless they have some radical changes at the top.
Yeah, I think, Shahrukh, I think all the points that you said were absolutely spot on. With regards to the, his leverage and what he can get out of this summer, because essentially the board is going to be there for 1 year, right? And the leverage is important right now because he knows that one of the board members is going to be fighting for the elections. And for this board to continue their mandate for the next 5 years, they need to ensure that Messi stays, because if Messi goes under them, then there's no chance, that they're going to continue with their mandate. So, and then possibly there's going to be not just them getting re-elected. I mean, they're probably going to have their houses trashed in Barcelona.
I think वो पहले resign कर देंगे. They will probably
they might leave the country. They might leave the state of the country. So it's not an option for them, right? Yeah. It's mandatory for them to listen to him and make sure that things do change. Yeah.
So how do you see the rest of the season panning out? Do you think there's still a chance of winning the league? या गई है league? I'd say.
No, I see. It's still close. I mean, it's 4 points. It's eternity, to be honest. I mean, frankly speaking, Real Madrid is playing so much better than Barcelona. That's a fact. I mean, you won 7 games on a trot. We've just won 1 game and drew the prior 2, right? So we're not in great form. We just tested out a new formation. And I don't know, but you see, in football, anything can happen. I mean, it's 4 points. Yeah. It's 4 matches left, I think. It could happen, but it's difficult. It's going to be an uphill task for Barcelona to win all the matches. And they're not dependent on themselves, frankly. They're dependent on Real Madrid to drop. Real probably is not going to drop points. I mean, this is as good of an opportunity they can get to win the Liga again, right? And win the Liga again, that sets a beautiful foundation for next year, right? So that you have support of your fans. You're in for the Champions League, which gives you another chance for another trophy. So I mean, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult for Real Madrid to be dropping 4 points at this point in the season. but never say never. I mean, it could happen. And if it happens, we'd be really happy and we'll take it.
I think it's not over yet. Yeah,
Hmm.
Ramos and Carvajal are both missing the next game because of their fifth yellow cards. So, two major players in our defense, and Nacho is also injured. So it's going to be an interesting lineup in the next game against Alaves. I don't know what Zidane pulls out, but whatever he does usually works.
I think next दो मैच काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है because थर्ड वाला फिर विला रियल के खिलाफ and they I don't know
Yes,
कल रात को जो हुआ सो हुआ but
that's the
generally they have
toughest
been
game.
in form. तो अगर अगली
Yeah,
दो जीत जाते हैं तो things will be much calmer when you visit
हाँ.
Villarreal. लेकिन
And
next में से yeah.
Barcelona has all their games against the bottom half of the teams, so
Yeah.
they don't have any tough games left. हमारी
I
एक
think
derby
I think the only challenging match, Shahrukh and Hamad, is probably the next match, which is a derby, Espanyol. Yeah, well,
bottom of the table. They're already
well,
relegated.
exactly.
I think they've got nothing to play for except pride. So
Otherwise, I think that it's clear cut. Should be victories.
yeah,
But the two away matches in Barcelona has not been doing really well in away. So I don't know. Let's see.
exactly.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Their home record has been phenomenal. अगर आप देखें Barcelona, I think they've just dropped points in 2 home games probably out of 16
exactly.
or 15 they've played.
Yeah.
So I mean, बड़ी अजीब बात है कि home record इतना अच्छा हो. You're top of the league in terms of your home record, but as far as your away form is concerned, it's pretty poor.
यहाँ पे बार्सिलोना के हवाले से एक और बात भी आती है बिकॉज वी हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट मैड्रिड इस सब में वो है कि स्टेमिना और ऑब्वियसली आपके एक फिजिकल टोल आप पे इवेंचुअली प्लेयर्स पर आ रहा है सो बार्सिलोना का दोपहर को भी हम बात कर रहे थे उनकी एवरेज एज हैज गॉन अप एज वेल सो दे आर नॉट नॉट अ वेरी यंगर लॉट और जो रिप्लेसमेंट्स है उस पर इतना रिलाई भी नहीं कर रहे अंटिल एक 20 ईयर ओल्ड को उन्होंने चांस दिया था एक दो गेम्स पहले ही प्लेड रियली वेल बट तो एक दैट कैन बी वन ऑफ द थिंग्स एज वेल डू यू थिंक physical toll
I think so. Absolutely. Barcelona's, yeah, you're right. I think if I just look at the Villarreal match, they probably had 50%, I think 6 players above 30. And I think they're not above 30. They're actually the same age, 33,
Mid-30s,
30.
yeah.
Messi's age. I think they're all
Messi,
the same age.
Piqué, Suarez, Vidal.
Yeah.
Alba,
exactly.
Busquets.
They're all above 31. So, and you know what? That's a very interesting point. It's not just the problem for the remaining matches. They've played 7 matches on a trot. That will definitely have an issue. I think the age is showing actually in the matches themselves. Even in all of the matches, like even the early matches right after they restarted the league, you could clearly see that in the tail end of the matches, like in the last 20 minutes or 15 minutes, Barcelona is really lethargic. They're not able to press. Well, they don't press anyway right now. I mean, in transitions, they're really bad. And teams with a lot of pace can just run over them. That's a big problem in Champions League also. But generally, I mean, even if they're facing teams which are not great in transitions or pacey, Barcelona still is very lethargic in the last 15 minutes. And it shows. They get really tired. And the problem with the coach is also that he might be a good technician to plan the game, but he's not a good technician to really make changes during the match, which means that he could bring in some more younger legs and change a bit of formation to see how the match turns. I think he's made this mistake in a lot of the recent matches where they were draws, especially I think this was talked about a lot in the Atletico Madrid match where he made the changes at the very last moment when things got really out of hand. You kept Suarez in the team who literally had no touches, right? Did not even have a single shot on goal. So how can you keep a player, on the field and expect that he could produce some sort of a wonder in the last minute? So I think this coach is really probably out of his depth. I mean, frankly speaking, I never knew about him in the first place when he joined. I probably heard of him. Maybe I did. But he was managing Betis, I think. That's where he joined from. He did good with that team. But before that, he doesn't have any history. I mean, he's been coaching in the second and third tiers. And I think I read earlier when he joined that he was probably also coach of some beach team in Spain. So, I mean, if you have caliber or history in coaching, you might be good enough to coach teams in the mid-table or at the bottom, but not a team of the stature of Barcelona, and also a squad full of champions who have huge egos. I mean, you have to be a very strong personality. I think with this bunch of players, you don't need to coach them. You really need to just
manage them
effectively and get them to a situation where they can give results. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, you've seen this with Real Madrid. You saw them winning 3 Champions Leagues on a trot with a coach who was inexperienced largely, right? But he knew how to manage these stars. Then you have an example of Pep Guardiola. When he came, he was in the similar situation as Zidane, right? Hardly any experience in coaching, but he knew how to manage. Then you had Luis Enrique, who had the similar situation at Barcelona. So, yeah, I mean, I think the last few coaches, I mean, Valverde had the same situation. He was not strong enough in terms of managing people. I think they kept him for too long. They should not have given him, renewal. They brought in a substandard coach, and it's showing right now. I think for the future, I think this board doesn't remain. There's no question about it. I mean, this year has been too much of a turmoil sort of situation for them to be able to continue and get the required votes. What's going to happen is whoever is going to come is either going to bring in Pep Guardiola, and I think that's a stretch. If Laporta comes back, that's the only way Guardiola might come. But because the other candidate who's probably going to win the election, I think last year they were trying to get in Javi, and he's aligned with that president candidate pretty well. So I don't see Guardiola coming in right now.
He just signed an extension, by the way, अपने club के साथ.
Exactly. So that's
he's going to take a year off after he's done with City. So
I think
that's another reason for us to believe. Yeah, he's not going to be there at Barcelona anytime soon.
Yeah.
Especially if Messi is there, because there are not many years left. So I think, that's how it is right now. It's
so tough. Talking about coaches and शाहरुख से पास चलते हैं. Fire fighting, interesting. हर लाइनअप बैठ के हम लोग गैस कर रहे होते हैं आज कौन खेल रहा होगा. अच्छा ये ड्रॉप ही हो गया है, ये है ही इंक्लूड ही नहीं हुआ. जेम्स का आप पूछें तो उसे कहते मैं नहीं बताऊंगा. So Zidane का क्या चल रहा है, कैसे देख रहे हैं आप उसके tactics?
I think Zidane's greatest quality has been his man management, right? Just like Jawad pointed out, when he took over back in 2016, if aapko yaad ho, after Benitez had been fired, we had the best team that we've had probably in our recent history. Right? Galacticos, first version of Galacticos ke baad, ye jo aayi thi, these were all the best players in their respective positions at the peak of their powers. All they needed was a bit of massaging their egos, telling them that they're the best in the world, and just letting them do their thing. And that's exactly what Zidane did. But the best thing about, I mean, people underrate him a lot. I think लोगों ने ये बड़ा कहा कि जी हाँ जिसके पास बड़े अच्छे players थे, team बहुत अच्छी थी. It's not luck, right? You can't win 3 Champions Leagues in a row based purely on luck.
Yeah.
When he came back end of last season, he realized that the team doesn't have out and out pure goal scorers. Ronaldo is not there. Benzema has never been someone who scores 30 plus goals a season. उसने देखा यार डिफेंस को टाइट करना है, and that's been our hallmark this season. Can you imagine that Madrid is on course to have the best defensive record in La Liga? I don't remember the last time that's ever happened. Right?
Maximum number of clean sheets since 1994.
Yeah, 1994 exactly. There you go. Courtois is on the verge of winning the best goalkeeper award with the most clean sheets. So he realized if you can't score goals, if we can't score 3 or 4 goals in a game, we'll stop the opposition from scoring. और पिछले आप 3 games देखें हमारी, we won them 1-0 all 3 games. That's a score line I would never associate with Real Madrid. हमेशा up till this year, we would always say yeah, we need 2 or 3 goals because एक goal तो हम खाएंगे ही खाएंगे. And that would be our hallmark. So I think that's what he's done really well this year. Game management. Once we've scored, he's ensured that we retain control of the game. Possession rakhe. We don't go for the kill, or we don't let our defense be left unmanned. And that's what's been his best quality this year, I think.
मैचेस में अगर आप जनरली भी देखें तो लास्ट 2-3 बल्कि ओवरऑल लास्ट 7 मैच एटलीस्ट उसमें डिफेंसिवली बहुत स्ट्रांग रहा है. कोई बहुत रेयरली हमें कोई बहुत स्केयर मिला है ऐसा कि मैड्रिड को कि वी वर लकी और एनीथिंग. जनरली वी हैव बीन वेरी स्ट्रांग. सर्जियो रामोस हैज बीन वेरी
Just
एक्टिव.
conceded 2 goals in 7 games. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. और
that just goes to show.
And if you are so much defensively improved and you are so strong तो कहीं ना कहीं से फिर आपके opportunity scoring opportunity निकल आती है, चाहे वो सेंसियो का 30 second charm हो या penalties आ जाए. So Shahrukh, what's your prediction for next 4 matches? जवाब से तुमने भी सुनी है.
Yeah, I think we should hang on. I think we'll pull through in the end. But I think I will agree with Zidane. I think it'll go down to the final game of the season. I don't see it ending before that. I think we might drop points, if not in the next game against Alaves, maybe against Villarreal, because वो fatigue build up हो रही है. आपको नजर आ रहा है players थकते जा रहे हैं, exhaust होते जा रहे हैं. Hazard is again, there's a bit of an injury scare surrounding him, an injury cloud around his participation in the remaining 4 matches. Ramos and Carvajal, just they're missing the next game, so defense might be a bit shaky. I think we'll just about pull through in the end, though. I think we'll make it.
Yeah, and what works for Madrid is that even if it's a draw on points, you guys are still leading on
exactly. So basically 4 point ki nahi 5 point ki lead hai. So that gives us a two game cushion. So I think we should manage it.
Should manage it.
सही. So one last point, जो हम जिस तरह क्रीम बेंजेमा की बात कर रहे हैं, so do you think we have a replacement for him right now अगले कुछ मैचेस में, if he's taken off at like 60 minute break के ऊपर उसको लिया जाए, तो do you think someone can play at his position?
Zidane has never lost faith in Benzema even for a second, even during his worst days. Yeah. And now, right now he's in the form of his life. I mean, his performance against Mallorca was outstanding, against Valencia as well, against Espanyol with the back heel, nutmeg, no look pass to Casemiro. He's scored and he's assisted some of the best goals of the season. So आखिरी आधे घंटे के लिए I mean, I think Jovic is back. Obviously, he played a few minutes in the previous game. I think he might be given some chances. Asensio can play up front as well. But I don't think Zidane is going to rest him. I think he'll push on through for the next 4 games, and he'll make sure that Benzema goes all the way until the very end, until the title is assured. तब तक Benzema खेलता रहेगा.
और जेम्स ने शायद आखिरी मैच खेल लिया मैड्रिड के लिए.
I think James and Bale are both done. Like Zidane said early in the season, it'd be best for everyone if Bale leaves as soon as possible. I think अब काफी हो गया. I think अब दोनों की probably they'll be sold over the summer.
I don't know who's going to buy him. He's going to probably go for free.
That's the problem, right? I mean, he's on such a huge contract. No one's willing to pay his wages.
And his age and everything. I mean, he hasn't been playing. I don't think they're going to buy him anyway. He's probably going to go.
It's very strange. अगर आप बेल को देखें, I mean, such a high quality player on his day, he's devastating, right? But why would you just want to sit on the bench and earn your wages? Not earn your wages, just get your wages for not even playing. I mean, as a footballer, you'd want to play all the time, right? He's just happy to sit in the stands, get his paycheck, and play golf all day. That's a very
he lost love for football 3 years ago, I think.
So let's talk about the Champions League spots. First or second, they are pretty much done. थर्ड अगर हम देखें तो एटलेटिको मैड्रिड जो है वो 62 पॉइंट्स के साथ है, लेकिन फोर्थ से उनका इतना गैप है कि आई थिंक थर्ड इज आल्सो अश्योर्ड. But it gets interesting when you talk about the fourth one, because Sevilla is on 57 points, Villarreal is on 54 points, and Getafe is on 53 points. इसमें एक इंटरेस्टिंग बात ये भी है कि सेविला ने 57 जो एक मैच खेलना है, so if they win, so they'll move up to 60 points, और फिर इनका गैप जो है वो 6 points का हो जाता है. So do you think any late surprises can put Villarreal up?
I think Villarreal can pull a surprise. They have one tough game against Madrid, which I hope obviously they'll drop points, all 3 points in that game. But uske alawa, they've been probably the second most informed team in the league since the restart. So they have a good chance of catching up with Sevilla. Sevilla were actually in third position before the restart. So there's still a chance for Villarreal to catch up. Getafe and Sociedad were also fighting for those final 2 spots, but they've sort of tapered off since the restart after the Corona break. So मुझे नहीं लगता कि इन दोनों टीम्स का कोई चांस है. Getafe and Sociedad will probably be fighting for the final Europa League spot. It's between Villarreal and Sevilla, and I think it's going to be very, very close. I'm going for Villarreal.
जवाद आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे?
No, I agree with Shahrukh. I think with the run of games, except for the last one, it probably might have a scare coming up, loss in confidence. But I think not well. Just except for Real Madrid's match, it's not a tough run in for them, so they might just edge it.
So I think this is it for today. आज हमने discuss किया Barcelona Real Madrid को. 4 matches to go. We'll have Jawad again on the show once the season end और फिर हम देखेंगे कि Barcelona की future strategy क्या होनी चाहिए और क्या हो रही है. But right now, fingers crossed for Madrid's next La Liga title. Thank you, Jawad, for joining us. Thank you, Shahrukh.
Thank you, Maud.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Take care.